Yeah, also from my side, very warm welcome. And when I was younger, couldn't imagine this today, but there were times where I was younger. I had to give the first speeches, and so I was thinking, who's a good coach to help you to do a good speech? And then I went to a politician, not because of the content, because they're usually content-less, but more from the way how to convince people. And I said, what do you do on a speech to make sure that you get the vote? Because he was more than 2 decades voted again for his next legislation. And he said, Rolf, forget about the content. Nobody cares, they will forget. But there are 3 things you have to put in. First, you have to think, to thank the people. Then you have to embrace the people. And then you have to enter a wish for whatever reason. And then I said, and what about the content? I said, forget it. So what I would like to do is I would thank you, first of all, to be here and to skip your breakfast and the nice chats, to listen to me. The wish comes at the end, and in between I will embrace, but I changed one thing, I added some content. So don't be too bored, I have some content. And maybe before we start, I'm not sure who of you knows what the Schwarz group is. Can we raise the hands? So you know what the Schwarz group is? Okay, keep the hands up. Who knows what Lidl is? Okay, helps a lot. Keep the hands up. Leave them there. Who knows what Kaufland is? Okay, now you know what the Schwarz Group is. So the Schwarz Group is the largest retailer privately owned in Europe. Most people don't know it because of Lidl and Kaufland. You know the brands. These are our go-to-market brands. For those who didn't raise their hand, after this presentation, skip this show, go to Lidl and Kaufland, download our loyalty card apps, Lidl Plus and Kaufland Card. This was the commercial break, and you will have the experience of your life. For the others, they had it already. This is why they're here. But what I would like to share today is to rethink digital. And really, you might ask yourself, why does a person like me talk about rethinking digital? I should more use digital to sell more bananas, apples, bread, and eggs, or whatever. And the reason I do this is very simple, because we all see how the world is changing. And when I say the world is changing, this is something which hit me hard, because when I was 20 years old, this was around the millennium, and when I was a teenager, this is where the Iron Curtain came down, and I had the luck to live in a time with a German passport and freedom. And for those who are in my age, you needed 3 things. You needed a passport, you needed a credit card, and a cell phone, and you could go everywhere. And I had the big luck, really. When I was CTO in my former life at SAP, I was in, I would say, almost all countries in the world to do business, to learn people, to learn culture. And this is something I really am disappointed when I look at my boy. He's now in this age, which countries he can't go anymore. This whole globalization, I'm a kid of globalization. I love this. And now I see exactly the opposite happening. And when I talk to Lenny, and I'm talking about Russia, China, countries I have been, Latin America, and I know also in Israel, I lived in Israel, sometimes I'm more Israeli than German, but the thing is, it's so hard to see what happened in the world, and it's so hard to see also how the pandemic has changed our social life and people, and what things have been changed, and we have no clue what will happen out of this in 10, 15 years. When I'm not sure if you have kids, but when Lenny was in the best life of his age of his life, he was in the Puppetarian, and then he was hanging out at home with his parents. This was the time I was spending 0 time with my parents to develop myself. So I try to push him out wherever I can, not because I don't love him, because I think distance helps to become very close. But so many things will change, and we saw this. We see now discussions about Taiwan. We gave back Hong Kong with the guidance, it will be independent. Nobody knows what happens with Taiwan. What are the rules? Will they be independent or what not? Things are just questioned. We all know what happened February 1 year ago, in the 2nd year now in the Ukraine. Maybe it started earlier with the Crimea, but it just happened, and we are looking. And of course, we have not only a war in the Ukraine, we also have now, it's a war in Israel again, and in a very special, delicate situation. This is happening all the time, and we also do not have always to look outside. When you look in Germany, people go on the streets, They protest. Now we can discuss if they protest democratic or not, or how far they go in a democratic world. But when I look at this, and this is something I want to share with you, this is the current world. And this just happened in 20, 25 years out of a position where globalization was the rule set and how we were thinking. And a lot of terms and abbreviations have been invented to describe this, to describe what this is. VUCA, Barney. So VUCA wasn't good enough, and the pandemic came, so we had Barney. And then there is RUPT. I love RUPT because it sounds so negative, RUPT. Or tuna, which is like tuna and sushi, but it's tuna. But what all of those abbreviations try to do, they try to describe this situation that you are trying to predict something, you are looking for stability, you are looking for, something which helps you to plan your future, to take business decisions, to run your business. Those people who are running enterprises and have responsibility, we have responsibility for 600,000 employees and their families, for 90,000 partners connected to us and their families, or partners and their employees and their families. We have this responsibility, but how do you work? And I love Mark Twain when he was talking about prediction, and he said, prediction is difficult, especially when future is involved. And this is what it is, and I always try to find out what is happening now, what can you do for yourself, and why do we have this situation? And the why, for me, is very simple. We lived in a world, I call it the rule-based world. So whenever I had been there had been rules. Rules about territories, rule about behavior, rules about deals. And everything we did was based on those rules. And it doesn't matter which abbreviation you use, it doesn't matter which weird prediction about democracy or not you want to make. The problem, the root cause of all of this is that we are breaking rules. Look at the United Nations, how many rules had been published which did not occur. And this is the whole root cause. So what can you do? The question is, what can you do as a business, as an organization, as a government, as a person, as a human being, to live in a world where nobody, or where a lot of people, powerful people, don't keep up the rules and do not follow the rules we had agreed on? And the answer is very simple. The answer is, guys, we have to be independent. Guys, we have to be agile. We have to be able to take decisions in our space which we can fulfill. And then the next question is, but how can you do this in a connected world? We need digitalization. So the answer on this situation is for most companies and people, this is why they pay people like me money, saying, hey, you're the chief digital officer. Digital, you saw the panel before. It's so much about society. But what we try to do to build a foundation, a technical foundation, like an operating system for human beings and enterprises to work together, to do at the end an independent business. So digitalization is the key thing. And when we look on digitalization, this is amazing bad. I've just taken the news on just about Germany over the last few weeks. Digitalization doesn't work. We have too much bureaucracy. The European Union is coming. You will see later on some nice presentations about the AI Act. Digitalization seems not to work. And I tell you one thing, the digitalization, how we do it today, does not work. It is pushing you into a vicious circle. Because when you run into digitalization as of today, and I'm really talking about a private-owned company doing it with a little bit eggs, bread, and so on, and apples to sell it to people. The one thing is, when you drive digitalization with the tools and the direction of today, you become more dependent than ever before. You come into a lock-in, you come in a vicious circle, and you know what? You cannot live your values anymore. We have values. Guys, we are owned by a single person. He has values to the customers. You give customer promises, but with today's digitalization, you have to break your promises. Just look on all the Schrems 1, 2, 3 discussions. You were always punishing people, privacy, and law because of digitalization. And I can tell you just an example of, let's take Germany. The world is burning, we are in Germany, and try to figure out how good we are in digitalization. I'm a positive thinking person, so I read these negative headlines and I say, what can you do better? But when I look at Germany and our dependencies, let's go through these sectors. Let's skip defense. It's good that we're in NATO and there are dependencies. This has history. Let's skip for defense. Let's talk about finance. We had a German, European-based payment scheme, but we missed it. The Euro check, we didn't get it. In Europe, we couldn't find an agreement. We talk about EPI, which doesn't come. For those who are in the financial industry, I'm putting salt into, I would say, all cuts you have, but that's the point. And now we are so proud that, and I saw this week, I got from my bank for the debit account, a very small debit bank account, I got an Apple Pay enabled virtual plastic card because the Euroshock system will go out. And I looked at this card and I saw this nice orange and yellow bubbles saying MasterCard, Maestro. So I just switched silently to a US-based payment system. I'm only asking who is paying the 1 or 2, 3% fees? So for the same service like before. Can you imagine in retail? I'm just talking about us. You see the numbers in press. Roughly 80 billion euros are done in plastic cash. We forced the people to pay plastic because of pandemic. And now indirectly we introduce a different payment scheme, payment system. Who pays the 1 to 3% fees? We don't get this. We have to understand that even in Europe, we should be more brave. Think about hyperscalers. I'm not bashing hyperscalers. I'm a big fan of so-called multi-supplier and dual systems. So we use stuff from hyperscalers and other stuff we don't use. But hyperscalers, they show you what it means to be dependent. You have to decide. When you go digital and use a hyperscaler, do you take the Chinese system or the US system? Do you want to give up your values to the Chinese or US? And I'm talking a lot to politicians, and I can tell you one thing. What I love about digital, it's black and white. It's 0 and 1s. There is no 50 shades of gray. This is why it's digital. I love this. Wrong, right. This is, I've loved mathematics and not so much German in school. But this is the point that what happens? It's amazing. When you talk to politicians and you said, guys, we have to be sovereign digital. Oh, Rolf, sovereign is such a hard word. Can't we say trustworthy? I said, trustworthy? We trust our friends like those who were listening to the cell phone of Miss Merkel. Our friends, I got it. So trustworthy. So from 0 1s, we go on 0.5. And now I don't have the English word, but Angemessenheitsbeschluss. What means angemessen? It means relatively good. So what I want to say is, you know what? When you run your data in the US, it's now allowed to store in the US. If they steal your data, you have the right to sue somebody. If you find somebody in a court who will look at your case and give you right, they will be forced to delete your data. This makes sense, guys. Listen, we are on such a track on dependencies. Think about AI. We have so many great mid-market companies. We always talk about the mid-market here in Germany and Europe when we talk about this. They are experts in niche. This is why they are market leaders. Also niche data. Let's use their data and knowledge to train models that the competition who just copied their patterns can use this stuff. Guys, this is part of our DNA, and intellectual property and data belongs to people. We should not kill it because of an underlying technology where we believe we lost the game in the market. And one last thing, before I become emotional, tax. I love market competition. You know what? I know that Lidl is much better than Aldi, but I'm happy that they are there. Okay, you need some guys to look how not to make it. But the point is, look, when you're at this point, we are so proud that we introduce a digital tax in Europe, and I try to stop this. Why did we introduce this? Because we didn't want to see how Apple and Amazon and Google and the others were taking a little hole in our tax system to go to Ireland to save money. This is the problem that we have, and I call it tax-optimized system in Ireland. We should fix this. But now, because we are so upset that we have no good marketplaces, which is not true, Kaufland.de is a fantastic marketplace compared to Amazon. Otto is there. There are alternatives. You can go to Otto. You can go to, you know what I mean? So I do not fear that there's a competition. You know what we do? We put a tax on those digital companies. Guys, I said, what happens if the US companies like AWS, Amazon, or Google, Microsoft with Azure, Google Cloud Platform, start taxing digital services? What happens to the European mid-market companies? Don't you think? And you know what, when they would do this, I hope that the guy who will become president or the woman won't think about this. They will say, hey, you invented the digital tax. It wasn't me. We don't understand what we do here from the dependencies. So this is why I can tell you the most important thing about digital. We need digital. We need it for society. We need AI for society. We heard all the examples before. How do we want to feed the people? How do we want to live together? We need this technology. It is a fantastic set of tools which we need for technology. But we have to understand that we should not give up our sovereignty. We all embrace diversity, and now the technology kills diversity. We don't get this. I said, guys, why are we not, and this is what I want to embrace, strong enough? We have so many great people here. We have so many great startups here. And I'm not becoming nationalistic. I'm just saying, embrace your diversity also in the digital world. And this is exactly why we at Schwarz selected those digital services which we need to be independent. Not because we don't like others, not because we're nationalistic, it's because we could not fulfill our promise anymore to our customers to run our business model if we would not change the rules, the nice, hey Rolf, it's trustworthy. This doesn't work when you give a promise. And the funny thing is, when we started this digital sovereignty, the first thing we did is we invented an own cloud. People were laughing about us. Oh, if you have no chance about the hyperscalers. I said, I don't care because I can't deliver my promise. For example, my promise in the loyalty program, because we promised our customers, when you go on our loyalty card, here's the data deal. I call this the open the kimono data deal. I said, you give me your shopping data, and I give you special individual offers. If you're vegan, you don't get the salami anymore, I promise. You get other nice special offers. And customers said, this is fine, and I promise you, nothing else will happen to your data. No Cambridge Analytics, nothing. And this was the deal. And suddenly we realized by running our software on US-based partners, software partners, when I asked them, can you guarantee that with the data of my customers, nothing will happen? For example, a segmentation for an AI with training data and parameters, which then may be used by Facebook or whatever to send advertisements. And they couldn't even tell us because they didn't even know what the services are doing. I said, guys, stop it here. So we had to leave our data. There were even some hyperscalers, and I do not mention names, who were not even able to tell us where our data is stored, where our data is processed, and who has access. Forget this lipstick on the pig, weak sovereign discussion. This is why I invented a cloud. And we did this only for us as the Schwarz Group, for Lidl, for Kaufland, for PreZero, our food production facilities. And the funny thing is, suddenly other companies came and said, you know what, we have the same problem. We cannot deliver our promise. We have the fear that with our IP, things will be trained, and in a transition, I'm not saying that they are stolen data, I'm not saying hyperscalers steal data, but in the impact of the technology, how it works, it somehow has an impact and inflects other things. We will lose. Can't we use this? I said, well, you can have it. It's not. So our key core business is to sell apples and oranges and eggs and whatever, so milk, you can have it. So we founded Schwarz Digital to offer our internal digital services, which are all sovereign, open source, only in German data centers for others, and we didn't understand that this is a product to sell. The second thing was cyber. You must imagine, we figured out that we all think cyber in silos, and each cyber company, for example, US, there is Port 8, they can look into this, they have a national secret service. I said, you know what? I don't care what your NSA stuff and CIA stuff is doing in the US, we are here in Germany. You don't even know where this is on the map, so can we not apply our rules? It wasn't possible. So at the end of the day, you know, we are retailers, so we usually deal and shop. So what we did is, we found in Israel a fantastic company called Axum Cyber, who was the only company who did cyber independent of on-prem, cloud, span the full thing in real time. We have more than 600,000 employees, 90,000 suppliers, banks. So how do you connect this? And the funny thing is, this was the only company who could tell us in real time, here's the door open, here's this, do this. And these were so great people, so we were sitting there, we wanted to become a customer, and this is like when you go shopping for shoes, you see the shoes, they are great, they fit, and then you ask your boss if you can get a check to buy them. And so they become part of the group. And then suddenly, we told other people how we make this cyber and how we protect this. And then they said, can't you protect us? And then some small mid-market companies like Nasdaq, Commerzbank, Citibank came to us, or SAP, who said, hey, Rolf, can't you protect us? So it's funny that those guys who sell apples, eggs, and milk are protecting companies digital because we just want to protect our customers. We gave them a promise that we protect their data. And we have, of course, with online systems, a lot of critical data. And last but not least, and then, of course, we also offer this to the market. And then last but not least, artificial intelligence. We are so great here in our place. I'm talking about Europe, not only Germany. We have so great minds who usually go then overseas and work there, 2/3 of the PhDs. Also here, Applied AI, this company, I love them. They're just sitting above here on the 4th floor. Guys, intellectual property, knowledge about AI, knowledge about the society. We have so great people here. This is why I'm so happy that the Bildungscampus was having the idea to make an innovation park, artificial intelligence, where 5,000 people, startups, companies, corps, education will come together in the melting pot. And the most important thing for us was that Aleph Alpha, with the large language model, and Jonas will talk later on, decided to join this. And this is why I invest in companies like this. Why? I want to have my own large language model with my knowledge, and I want to decide which of my knowledge is public I can give to train the models, to keep not only the explainability. We do this for the sake of human beings. And this is why we also in the AI went down the road on this direction. Why? Not because I don't like others. It's just because we believe that data is your data, and you should decide what happens with it. And if you don't have this opportunity, we shouldn't do. We also believe that whatever we do with technology is only for the sake of human beings. And a human at the end of the day has to have the control and to set the rules. And this works only if you run it in your sovereign world. This is why we did this. And just to come to the end, and this is what I'm saying, digital sovereignty is exactly the opposite of becoming nationalistic and isolated, because what it gives you, independency. And when you're independent, you know what? It ensures freedom. And what do I see with freedom? Freedom of choice. And when you're in a position like this, then you are able to start partnerships and collaborations on eye level. And I hope that before I get retired, in 50 years, because based on our financial system, this is the time I will have enough money to survive. When I get retired, I hope that we come back to the globalization, which I saw when I started. But to do this, we have to be, from a digital point of view, independent. And the independency is the foundation for freedom. And this is my last slide now, and my wish. When we took this journey, it took a lot of effort. And we did this because I found so many great people. I found them just around here. I said this, look how many great people are here, how many great startups. With the Bildungscampus, the TUM, even with the ETH in Zurich, we have so many great people here. And we just did it. We had to do it for the Schwarz group. This was helping us. We had to do it. And it was an effort. And we took the journey. People were laughing about us. A retailer doing his own cloud. I'm not sure why people are laughing about us. I heard something about Amazon. I think they said this retailer, but it doesn't matter. So we did this journey. And at the beginning, they were laughing, then they were looking, and now they are starting to talk to us. And we are on a base camp pretty high, but this is just in the middle of the journey. We are not yet done. And my wish is, be more brave. Don't accept those kind of things, because what you give us now on a digital layer, you won't get rid of, because the digital is injected as the foundation to everything. So this tool has to fulfill your values, our values, your promises you give to your customers, to your partners, or to your people as a government. So my wish is, be brave. We have it. We have the capabilities. We have so great education, and do this. And this is not against the others. It is to find partnerships on eye level. And with this, the only thing I want you to take with you is, life is a mountain, not a beach, but it's great to go hiking. Thank you so much.